My name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to Harpin on Rugby, where with the help of some fellow fans, I get the chance to harp on what's going on with Leinster, Ireland, and the wider rugby world. First up, joining me is someone making his 55th appearance on the pod. Welcome back to Mr. Tom Coleman.
Evening, Jeff, and evening, Mark. Good to be back.
And also with us is someone back earning cap number 51. Hello to Mr. Mark Jackson.
Evening, Jeff. Evening, Tom.
Evening, Mark.
Good to have you both again. I had you both on for the La Rochelle match as well, so we might have to keep this going a little longer for the Champions Cup. We'll see if we can get it sorted.
And I think that the picture of the day is the 2 or 3 seconds. I'm sure somebody's got a gif of it. Is Caelan Doris blowing his cheeks out, going in his head, going, "Thank fuck that's over, lads. We got away with it this time for once." Yeah, I think all of us, especially all of us in the group that were texting, we're just going, "What the fuck is going on here, lads? Why are we doing it to ourselves?" You got a good team in Northampton. You know, they came back, they took their chances well. We didn't take ours. That was the thing. You know, we were in that 22, and I think our return from the amount of time we spent in the opposition 22 from the game, and I'll just finish on that. Was one of the poorest we've seen from us in a while. But listen, the relief all around, and for every Leinster fan watching it, be it in Gibraltar if you're Richard, or in London if you're myself, and for everybody that was at the game, was palpable.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want to put too much on one player, but I mean, we're talking about this final quarter, and I mean, the place kicks that Ross Byrne missed, they have to factor into our analysis, because that was 7 points, and it's the difference between the 27-14 lead and the 2014 lead in those or 2017 lead in those final stages is it's huge, and he knows himself. And of course, the contrast between Finn Smith kicking those from the touchline, that's one area, of course, but like you say, we were letting them back in. Those final stages of the match, there were penalties all over the place. I mean, There was one stage where I think we had 16 phases, and I think there was Courtney Laws alone, I think, could have been hit for at least 3 times in that series. I mean, which he was aggressively going after. It's what he does. But I think he could have been pinged a few times. I don't think Raynell wanted to know at that stage of the game, in a tight game, and you often see refs do that, and that's just, you have to get on with that, and that's what happens. Definitely, I think that the one high ball, it was a lot of high balls going up in that. And that we know that's not Jamison Gibson Park's game. He was doing that a lot when he first came to Leinster, and I think that's why his progress, but that's the way we were playing, and that just goes against the way he wants to play. But he clicked into that mode, and those when the score started to get a bit close, we could have maybe taken a few more risks. But there was one high ball that Robbie Henshaw caught, that I think that was the key. That was a key moment as well. That's when we had to get back, because Northampton kept running back.
The other one was the Doris turnover, himself and Conan, when Northampton looked like they were getting into danger territory. You could see Conan and Doris took an absolute pounding in that ruck, and it was huge. It was a huge leading to that. I forgot about that. And it just added to Doris's. If it was anybody other than Jamison Gibson Park, Doris was probably your man of the match. He had a savage game.
Absolutely. And in those final stages, now my phone, I thought my phone was charging all through the match, but it wasn't, so it died. So I had the RT player on there, so I had no coverage. So I'd taken the headphones off, and where I was sitting right at the back of the media box, there were fans literally in my ear. They were leaning over the thing, and they were there was one either side of me, and I could hear them even through the headphones all through the match. But the scream that pair of them let out for that after that penalty right at the very end, it was huge. It was but you could see it coming. You could see it was over the ball, and everyone was pointing. Oh, that's it. That's the moment. And it was an amazing. It was amazing finish at the end. And
just to add to Mark's point, just to what I've got harping on, as we say, I do think
that's what we're here for.
I do think that my own opinion is that I do think that area of that time in the pitch we were speaking about, time of the game, about some of the box kicks, is definitely, I think that was a call that came from the sort of pre-planned. I feel like it was a pre-planned time where this high attrition rate that we use around the breakdown and around the phases, and it felt a little bit like a decision by numbers about get to the period of this game and contain Northampton in their own half and force them to come deep and force them to with messy high ball. It just it happened so often in that period of time. It found it hard to believe that it was just.
Do you think it was over respecting their back three?
Their back three, yeah, no, I don't know. It felt like it was just given, it was like a pre-planned 10-minute breather for the amount of attrition that the rest of the team go through on this high press, high defense. As in, right, we'll go through this period of time and but it just didn't pay off. It just
Yeah.
took
No, because
the
I
fluidity,
thought with
the
our
fluidity of the
defense,
game. Hmm?
with our defense and like those 16 phases, just the fact that we went 16 phases. I mean, the fact that there wasn't a possibility of just popping it into the corner, making them chase it and trust our own defense. It was just, I don't even, because the risk of giving away a penalty in
Yeah,
that
but
set.
it's only when we went 2017 up that we resort to what we did for the previous 58 minutes before the handy try.
Yeah.
Mark outlined that we went back to hard carrying, resourcing rucks, back to what we did for the first 58 minutes before the sort of error-strewn period of time that I spoke about leading up to the handy try. We resorted to that, and we managed to last, as Mark said, we managed the last five minutes, even though it was nervy for us in the crowd because you're just waiting for one chance, and they had one half chance maybe where they thought there was an overlap, but we did deal with it quite well, and because we went back to what we were doing well for the previous hour. It was just that time from about 62 minutes to 75, that 13, where we just went off script. It seemed planned, not from the players. It just seemed like a period of time where we're going to go into this containment mode and force them to play from deeper positions. And if we can get some turnovers on some box kicks, so be it. From Chase, but it happened so often during that period of time. It just seems like it was. I'd love to ask Nienbar and Cullen, what was not the logic behind it, but just to get a better understanding. It just didn't seem like a tired team that had lost their way. The one thing you can accuse Leinster of is not having plan A, plan B, plan C, or no plan. So it seemed to me there was sort of a plan to do this at a certain period of time in the game, just to contain. Maybe Nienbar wants to give us practice having close games. He's had one out in La Rochelle and he won the World Cup by 3 points in 3 knockout games. So maybe this is his way of developing the box psyche in the Leinster guys where it comes to the final. I don't know, but yeah, it's only after that we sort of went back to what we were good at and seen the game out.
Well, if that's a pre-planned system, then I can send them my bill for my cardiac appointments. I think going forward, they're going to keep doing that. But listen, all of which brings us to our final thoughts. And I suppose, given our win at Croker, these actually are the quote unquote final thoughts as we look ahead to London, starting with Tom.
Yeah, well, obviously we've seen today that Toulouse in an exciting game. So it is call it the blue ribbon final. We've got the 5 times winner against the 4 times winner. And we've had a good record against Toulouse lately, but look, we've been here a few times over the last few years. We're not counting any chickens, and I see the bookies can't split the teams going into the final. So I think it'll come down to on the day which team can perform the best. But hopefully Leinster can use the pain of the last 2 years to drive them on. But it's fantastic. I think it's 8 finals each now. Both teams have been in. So look, if you're not in
never
it,
against each other. That's mad, isn't it?
first one against each other, yeah. Look, if you're not in it, you can't win it. So there's only 2 teams left, regardless of whoever else everybody else is going to support. It's Leinster v Toulouse. So, and in a fairly fancy stadium in North London. But yeah, look, it'll be. I'm going over myself. I've sort of tickets and everything else got, so I can't wait and just hoping we can break to the hoodoo. The last couple of years, the last 3 finals we've been in fact. But yeah, look, all the signs are there that Leinster are going to go, after Toulouse at the breakdown, and we've handled DuPont pretty well, previously. I know I'm talking about the final, rather than the weekend's game. We've handled DuPont pretty well, in fairness, over the last 4 or 5 times we've made. I will look for a tweet that I did say back in September when we started to sort of disentangle what the Nienbar defense was, and I did say somewhere on Twitter that it feels like we've built a team to beat La Rochelle. I'm not sure it'll be the same game plan will probably unravel against Toulouse. because of the way they play. And Northampton showed glimpses of getting the ball out wide, as we call it. And Toulouse showed again against Quins, they can be out on the wider channels, really rapid and in transition play from their own 22. So completely different challenge, and we are set up different from the other times where, in fairness, we've stuck 40 points in Toulouse in the last 3 times. That's not going to happen in the final. So it'll be very interesting time. It'll be cat and cage. I don't care. As you say, it might be good for the heart medication or your heart. If we can just win by 1 point, I'll be happy. As for the weekend's games, I'm just going to end on we've spoke about some of the things we were concerned about and we've outlined it. I don't think there's no point in harping on over that again. I just think, look, I think Leinster played in front of 4,000 or 5,000 back in '95 against Cardiff in the first semi-final. We lost. Yeah, Cardiff, you've heard that right, people who are listening. It was Cardiff that beat us in the first semi-final back in '95. But look, to play in front of 82 and a half, nearly 82,500 and sell out that game within 36 hours is just unbelievable. I mean, we even the most diehard fan who's been going to the RDS since 2005 and well beyond that, people who's gone to Donnybrook, no way we would have thought the game would have sold out. We were thinking maybe 50, 60,000. And it only sold out the last time because we played Munster. So just to see the amount of Leinster supporters travelling to Croke Park and just sell out, just amazing how far Irish rugby has come in 20 years and our own province has come in 20 years. And people complain about I know it was an EPRC event, but Leinster, people complaining about Leinster having money. Well, when you're getting a cut out of that, that's where you have money to spend on Geordie Barrett or whoever else you want to sign. There's the chicken and the egg there's a story behind the chicken and egg, because the story is the chicken and the egg. One doesn't come without the other. So I just look, having been one of those early fans going to Donnybrook just to see the crowds now and the interest, and there'll be huge interest now going to Twickenham. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I'm just going to end on a positive. Just really looking forward to the final. As for the last, I suppose, point of view is what selections will Leinster do? Leo has come out and said he's going to pick strong teams for the rest of the URC. So that'll be interesting to see. We've got Ospreys at home next and Ulster away before we play Toulouse. So I do think there's definitely some players that we want back for Toulouse. Gary Ringrose, Hugo Keenan in particular in that 23. Obviously Hugo will start, no question. Probably Ringrose will as well. James Ryan, the new, seems to be healthier and healthier as he can back out. Whatever we need to do to get those three guys up to speed, that they're in the frame for the 23 against Toulouse, is key. And by default, that just strengthens the URC team against the Ospreys and against Ulster, because we need to go and beat the Ospreys, and we need to win up in Belfast. I don't want this all eggs in one basket going in against a very, very good Toulouse team, which at best, as the bookie said, is 50-50. Both are sort of 6-5 on. So that's a toss of a coin. And if you're playing against the likes of DuPont and Entomac, I think Leinster have to go hard in the URC as well. And the coaches have got criticised for, we look back to Munster and Lansdowne Road last year, and we could have played X, Y, and Z more, and we ended up losing by a last minute drop goal. And if we can't have those regrets again. I'd rather go all chips in the remaining matches of the season and give us every opportunity to win a trophy. Doesn't mean we have the divine right to win both, but I don't want to sacrifice one over a 50-50 match against Toulouse. Of course, we all want that fifth star. We want Leinster to join Toulouse, which would be unbelievable achievement. That would be the motivation of the coaches, the supporters, but not at the expense of the URC. I think we have to go hard after it this year. We've consistently been one of the better teams in the URC, and the regular season shows that. But we just have taken our foot off the pedal twice now in a couple of years, and I think a different tact has to happen. We need to go stronger against these teams to secure number one seed, hopefully, because it's not a given Munster's recent wins in South Africa and Glasgow going well. Glasgow still have a trip to South Africa, and they've still got a Zebra at home, so they're going to be thereabouts. So we can't take the foot. So I'd like to see us not go obviously try and win the Heineken Cup, but it is a 50-50 match. let's not have any regrets for a third year running. Let's go all chips in. I'd rather we went all chips in and fell between two stools and not won either than not go chips in at all. I think that's what we need to do to try and secure some silverware this year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of big decisions for them to make, selections over the next couple of weeks. Of course, the calendar is a little different this year. Like you said last year, when we went into the Champions Cup final, we had the URC semifinal just the week before. This year, the regular season won't even be over when we're playing. We'll still have Connacht to play in the regular season after we play Toulouse. So these next two games, which are important to us, the way the season is stacking up, and also, like you said, we've got these players coming back into the squad who are going to, if they are to feature in London, they'll need game time. So a lot of decisions to make. What do you think, Mark?
Our injury profile is not the worst, and we've guys coming back now. I'm with Tom 100%. No cotton wool. Whatever about resting the odd guy here or there. You don't go 13 changes like we did at this stage of the season last year. You can get injured getting out of bed if you're David Seaman. You can get injured walking down the road. Your dog lead catches you, you fall over. You can get injured in so many bloody ways. Never mind in a rugby match. Let's go full bore. I'm with Tom on that. It's all or nothing really at this stage. I think there's a little bit of hurt in the players from last year that they want to rectify, and I think you might have one or two guys gone up to Leo going, "Why am I not playing this weekend?" as opposed to just saying yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. So let's see how the next month and a half, or there's like 2.5 months left of the URC till it's finished. It's a bloody long season. Let's hope we just get some silverware at the end of it.
Yeah, because I mean, the way the injury profile is looking, I mean, from the game, the only concern seem to be Frawley. He went off right at the end, and he didn't look good now going off when Harry Byrne was brought on, but otherwise, on the other end of the scale, like you say, we've all these players coming back. There's Charlie Natai in that as well. There's players that coming back into the frame. So you would think with up to just 7 games left maximum left in the season, so that's 7 weeks. You would think that they could just ideally pick a team and just play, and then you'd hope you'd have if you're going to wrap anyone in cotton wool, maybe Gibson Park, because he's such a key player, and we do have a lot of depth on the wings. Maybe there's the whole question of, like you say, how does Ringrose get back into that team, because Henshaw and Osborne have done so well, and they've become a real settled, like in these knockout games now, 1, 2, 3 in a row, they become a settled pairing in the middle. So, like, where does Ringrose come in? There's a few questions there, but still, between now and the end of the season, it's just there's a lot of, like, every time that team gets named, we're going to be wondering, like, what way are they looking at it? I mean, also, you don't want to just, you've got this the Scott Penny team as well that's gotten us to this stage of the season, and you don't want to just put them by the wayside as well. So how do you factor that in? But a lot of big decisions to make for sure.
Yeah, like, I have no problem with Scott Penny playing against the Ospreys or Ulster or anybody else, but I would definitely have Josh on the bench for at least one of those games. Myself, I would probably have, Luke McGraw's a leader. He's captained the side. He's got 200 appearances for Leinster. I'd have no problem with him playing those 2 games and putting the only guy in cotton wool would probably Gibson Park, because the gap between him and McGrath is quite extensive, I think, at the moment. As we said earlier, we've probably got the 2 best scrum halves in the world at 15s and at 7s. DuPont has always been the class act. Gibson Park's form has just been electric for the last 12 months, and he's the only one who you'd probably wrap up in wool. James Lowe obviously doesn't play any URC games, according to all the commentators this weekend, so he probably would be wrapped up in cotton wool as well. Rob Russell will get a run out. But the beauty of the Leinster backline especially is the likes of Osborne covers both wing and centre and fullback if you want. Right, his brother can play centre, wing, or fullback. Jimmy O'Brien can play centre, wing, or fullback. So he has options with quality players. I just hope he doesn't, as Tom said, sacrifice one for the other. Just go for everything.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we've all ahead of us, but we've got to have gotten through this weekend and a great day out of Croker as well. And just look ahead to the rest of the season and take it from there. Okay, so listen, that's brilliant, lads. We're going to leave it there. Many thanks again to Tom and Mark for joining me. Hope to have you both on again soon. Thanks, lads.
Pleasure as always.
Cheers, Jeff. Cheers.